today we're on Group Therapy TV podcast. Today we have guest Mike Regan. Regan or Regan?
Regan, yes.
Regan, yes. He is a suit actor.
I'm sorry, but I'm fully expecting Gary to come back and make faces behind me.
There he goes. So, he snuck by. He's been in movies like the Hellraiser movies. The Feast movies, as we get glare, and
he's Pumpkinhead.
Yes. How did you get started in suit acting and stunt work?
Well, suit acting. I mean, God, I want to think back. I guess the very first movie I did unofficially, I worked on Critters 2, and I kind of got invited by a friend on the set. And the Kyotos were there, and they're like, "Hey, we're shooting a scene in alleyway. Do you want to puppeteer a critter? Because we just need a bunch of critters." I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I go in and I help puppeteer it. It was fun. At the end of the day, they're like, "Are you coming back tomorrow?" I'm like, "Yeah, if you want me to." And so I came back, and I think I did it about 4 days in a row. And then the final day, they're like, "Hey, we think we can get you paid." And I'm like, "Awesome, that's great." And so first paid gig, but not officially hired. And then first officially hired was Elm Street 5. Being a huge Freddy fan, I got to work on all the reshoot, the additional photography for the ending. I think they stuck me in a Freddy piece. So there's a quick shot of Freddy, like the arm going by camera, so you the back of the head and the arm. So that's me, and that's sort of the unofficial first put in a suit thing. The first official put in a suit was the movie Beethoven, not very horror oriented. I mean, it is a big Saint Bernard, not Cujo, but it was the first sort of official. Now you're in a suit, now you can be a suit actor thing. And from there, it just kind of kept going. It was puppeteering, it was suit acting, and then I started working for Gary Tunnicliffe, his 2 Hours in the Dark company that did the Hellraiser films. First Hellraiser film I worked on, again being a huge fan, was Bloodline. And there was going to be a chatter thing in it, but then it turned out that we weren't actually building the chatter thing, so I think we had shot a test for it, but this company's like, we're building it, and I think they had their own guy, so I didn't luck out on that one. But Inferno rolled around, and Gary was like, we're doing another version of Chatter. It's this torso thing that I've designed. It's just the upper half of the body and Chatter head. He's like, I'd love you to do it. Again, knowing that I'd worked with him at that point, he knew that I liked doing suit stuff, so gets me in it. And that was the beginning of me playing Chatter. And I've played Chatter in all of the movies since 5, except 9 because it was a female Chatter, and I had to put somebody in the suit rather than put myself in it. But I'm glad to have taken on that mantle, and that's sort of the beginning of it. And it just rolled and progressed from there.
Yeah, and you've been in some iconic characters. I mean, with Hellraiser and Pumpkinhead, and I'm a huge fan of Pumpkinhead.
Again, I'm a huge. I mean, a lot of it comes from being a huge fan. We got the franchise at Gary's shop. Again, chance to do 3 and 4. He's like, look, we have a short built on this, and it's shooting in Romania. I'm going to send you out on it anyways. He's like, I'd rather have you in the suit than some Romanian stunt guy who's not going to take care of the suit.
Yeah, you get somebody you trust.
Yeah, and knowing that I'm a fan of it, I kind of know the way Pumpkinhead should move and should act. So again, I'm like, how am I going to say no? It's a childhood fan. You're like, oh, Pumpkinhead, of course. I have to play this.
So you've been Pumpkinhead, you've been Freddy, kinda. You've been a critter, kinda.
Critters, yeah.
You've been Chatter.
Chatter.
What's the big one that you want to be? You'd love to be?
I honestly, I just like playing all of them. I really think that I've done things that I wanted to do. Being a huge fan of the Elm Street films, I got to work on Freddy. I was in that one shot. Huge fan of Hellraiser movies, so getting to work on Hellraiser and then getting to be Chatter. And within the Hellraiser films, I was also a Surgeon Cenobite at one point. I was a Bound Cenobite. I was I think Dark Figure in Hellseeker. So I think I've played more Cenobites than anyone aside from Doug Bradley, who's been in most of the films.
Who's just been, he's always been the same
He's always
Cenobite.
been the same one, yeah.
And you've just been every Cenobite.
Yeah.
They just really just bring Doug Bradley on the set, and then they're like, all right, go ahead, Mike, change costume. Go ahead.
Put him in this man. Put another man. Put this one on and go run up the street, and then walk toward us really slow.
Now, with being
Mimic, I was in Mimic 3 and 4, so I was a bug. I've been a bug, I've been a dog, I've been demons from hell.
So what's it like being a dog?
It was itchy and scratchy, just because like the fake fur and it's all up in your face, and you feel like you got to itch and scratch, but it's just all around you.
Have you been any other dogs outside of Beethoven?
Not in the suit, but I worked on a film called Fluke, so we puppeteering fake dogs. I can't even remember the year they came out, but it was a while ago.
Is it the one with the seal too?
I don't know.
I think there's a movie called Fluke that had a seal, and I might be mistaken.
I think it's two dogs. I want to say one of them is voiced maybe by Danny Glover. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I want to say I just think the poster is like kind of it's a dog and its feet are in like these shoes, because I think it's a guy who passed away and his body transferred into the dog. And he's got to find his way back to his wife, with the family and stuff. So convoluted stories, but it's all work, right?
Yeah, heck yeah. I mean, you get to play. I mean, it's funny because I've talked to other actors. Like, you get to play pretend. You get to be the monster, and you get to.
The funny thing with this is, my parents always told me that in kindergarten, when they go around the class and they ask everyone, what do you want to be, a fireman, what do you want to be, a princess, whatever, they came to me and they said, what do you want to be? I said I wanted to be a dog. So when I got cast as Beethoven, I called my parents up and I went, hey, you remember what I said in kindergarten, that I wanted to be a dog? Guess what? I'm actually going to be a dog for this movie.
Tell me you took a picture of yourself in the costume and sent it to your teacher or to the school.
I actually think my kindergarten teacher had passed away by that point. She was I remember being quite old at the time. So, ironic too, to fulfill the childhood dream of being a dog.
I'm not gonna lie. My whole thing was, I remember being a kid and they're like, what do you want to do when you grow up? I was like, I wanted to be a comic book store owner. And that's what I am now, for the most part. Nice. And I would be like, I wanted to go back to the teacher who was like, that's not a realistic goal. And be like, I make money doing that.
Excellent.
So,
I mean, look, after kindergarten, it obviously changed drastically.
You gotta have fun.
Junior high and high school, I became just obsessed with being an effects guy. So
okay, who got you into effects?
I mean, it was kind of myself. I was a huge fan of Ray Harryhausen, so wanted to do
the stop motion
animation, did lots of clay animation, and that progressed into, because I had a really crappy Super 8 camera, it had like a 4-foot depth of field, so, and I'm animating it like 3 feet away, so it's filling the frame, and it's all out of focus, and not great results, and I suddenly was like, well, hold on a second. If I have this sculpture, I can make a mold on it out of plaster and make a rubber piece and make it into a puppet instead. And then I can film it. I can get the footage back quicker. And then puppets became, if I make it the size of my head, it's a mask. And then I started, finding out about Tom Savini and Rick Baker. They were really like my two inspirations growing up. Savini, just because he's Savini, he was a showman, and Blood and Gore and it's monsters, and you go, how can I not? You're a creep show.
Oh yeah.
And then Rick Baker, obviously, American Werewolf in London, stuff like that. You just seen the Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, and
Rob Bottin, and
suddenly I'm like, I want to do that. I want to make monsters for a living.
I got really fascinated by you talking about Kevin Yeager.
Yeah.
Because Kevin Yeager, technically, for me, is a local guy. I'm from Pickle High. He's from down near Dayton.
Right.
And I was like, this is a guy down the street, down the road, making this stuff. And I remember, because do you remember did you get the videos when you were younger? The ones that, like the how-to videos and stuff.
Well, there
Or
were
were you
like the Mike Burnett videos. There was some Mike Burnett videos.
I want to say Tom Savini had one.
Well, there was
Scream Grades.
Scream Grades.
Because I remember one I had in I think junior high school, and it was show Tom Savini building Fluffy.
Yeah, I mean there was some of that in Scream Grades. There was one that was just it was similar to Scream Grades, but it was sort of an off-brand.
Yeah,
and it was that. It was like the Monkey Shines figure and stuff, and obviously he always shows the Creep Show corpse. And stuff like that.
So what's the one that you're most proud of? What's your that you or do you have one that you're most proud of?
I mean, it's kind of all of them. I mean, there's something. The great thing about effects is I just feel, as a job, it feels like you're always doing something different from the day before, and every film has that one thing on it that you're like, oh, I'm really glad I got to make that on the film and to build this and work on that aspect of it. So every one of them, there's something about it that's unique and special. So it's hard to pick out one that you go, that one. I mean, really, if I have to go, just in terms of life goals, or saying like it would have been Elm Street 5, and it would have been Hellraiser Bloodline. Not necessarily because I go, those are the best films. It was just me accomplishing, getting to work on a Freddy film, something I was a huge fan of, and getting to work on a Hellraiser film that, you know, I was a fan of Hellraiser. To go, I feel like I've accomplished. I've gotten to work on those things that I admired as a kid.
No, I've asked this some other people that've done makeup and Halloween. What's your house like at Halloween? Is your the house that everybody has to come to, or are you just like, man, I do this all week long, is my job, I don't want to do it at home?
If you had asked me that, like, God, let me think. Time-wise, my brain is going to fuzz here. I'm going to guess like 15 to 18 years ago. If you'd asked me that, I'd have been like, it's crazy. I used to live down in Redondo Beach and used to set up like a whole graveyard and figures and do the whole spiel, lights and the whole thing, dress up. It got to the point where my ex-wife was like, she would just get nuts because Halloween would come and I'd spend the week before up until midnight, 3 in the morning, building stuff and setting stuff up, and it finally got to the point where I was like, you know, if you just let me leave so we had like a drive-through garage, and then a garage in the back. The garage in the back was like half workroom, half storage, and this little side garage we didn't really use for anything. She kind of keep gardening supplies, and I said, if you let me just leave it and set up year-round, I can work on stuff and build stuff all year in there, and that way I don't have to stay up until 3 in the morning the night before. It's like ready to go, it's open to garage, and finally it was like, yes, fine, just leave it and set up. So I was the house that had a small walkthrough and, you know, figures on air ramps that would come up and sound effects, smoke machines, and strobe lights, and a black light section with floating heads. I mean, I was that guy. I was the house on the block that everyone was like, yeah, we better get candy because all the kids are going to be down the street. And you know what? After they leave his house, they come to our house, the next house. You know, it was like kids nonstop. And you reached halfway through if we didn't get enough candy, we need more bags. Someone run and get some. Do we have any pennies in the house?
Give kids pennies.
We're out of candy, but here's a granola bar. I don't know, you know.
That'd have been like, oh, granola bar. No.
Right now, the neighborhood I'm in, I was all ready for it the first year. I'm like, I'm going to dress up. Like, nobody, not a single person. And I think within the last 10 years I've been living there, I think this last year or the year before, there was maybe 2 groups of people that came by, a couple of kids. So I don't get the chance to do it as much anymore. I'm more a fan. I try and go and do the walkthroughs. I try and get Halloween Horror Nights or Not Scary Farm.
Yeah. Now, do you ever go to like the haunted house, local haunted houses, and go, they could do better?
I mean, I don't go to the local ones, but again, sometimes you come out of those, even the Halloween Horror Nights, as much as I love them, you come out and you go, it was better last year, you know? it feels like they kind of skated on this one. There was a lot of scare actors. Everyone loves the Purge films, but I'm kind of like, well, Purge, it's someone lunging at you with a knife, and you go, you're not going to stab me because you want me to come back next year, right? So you kind of go, hey, you're not getting me with this, and it feels like a cop out. We want some movie quality level, top notch. Bring back that chainsaw house, man. That thing.
See, I always thought it would have been great to put plants into like send them through with groups of people so you knew who to tag. So like all of a sudden you just like they can't touch somebody, you grab them and stab them, and you drag them their blood.
Drag them away. Yeah.
That's it. Did they just stab my guy? No, you got any upcoming projects coming up that you can talk about?
Yeah, I would say. Yes, we've got a project called Play Dead that I worked on with Gary. It's Patrick Lucier directed. It's supposed to be really good. They were kind of like, well, they were going to release it, and then it's like, oh, we want to hold it back and try and figure out something bigger for it, and we don't have a release date, but we keep hearing really good things, and the production company's really happy with it. But we're kind of like, yeah, where is it? You want to see it? And then we did a thing called Dark Harvest, with kind of a weird, creepy scarecrow pumpkin thing, which was supposed to be out in September, and the same story. It's kind of like, it's going to come out, it's going to be out in September, and then suddenly it's like, where is it? Oh, we've pulled back the release date. I don't know if it's because, well, it's testing really well, and we've got bigger plans for it, or if they're kind of like, we don't know where it's going.
Quietly pushing the streaming?
Yeah, it could be. It's kind of a mixed bag now. Streaming isn't necessarily like...
No, I don't think streaming's a bad thing at all.
You kind of felt back in the day it was like, oh, direct-to-home video, and you go, oh, we know what that means, or oh, it's going to be on Sci-Fi Channel, and you go, oh, we know what that means. Nowadays, it kind of feels like streaming is becoming a viable platform.
Oh, yeah.
I just worked on a year or so ago, worked on Tomorrow Wars, which found out, it's going to Amazon Prime, and you go, Amazon Prime thing. I watch it, I'm like, I was entertained. It was kind of big over the top, monster, bugs, and it was a lot more violent than I thought it was going to be, and I'm like, it's kind of cool, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, there's that whole stigma, like you said, because I grew up, it was video stores, and you're like, it's direct to video, and then it was, it's direct to streaming, and now it's like, this is direct to streaming now. You're like, get a little excited.
Well, you've got streaming platforms that are like, well, we want to produce content that we own, so we don't have to license it. So I think they're vying with production companies for releases, and they go, I think we can spend that much on this film and make it viable. We can make something off of it. It's a good thing.
Yeah, and they're putting out a lot of stuff that if you would have went to the cinema, you probably wouldn't have seen it, and all of a sudden you're like, that's a damn good movie.
Yeah. And when it comes to going to cinema, you're stuck with now we've got to market it, we've got to do all this. There's an additional cost for streaming. It's like, well, we can market it if they've already got a subscription. If it's Amazon Prime, you're already paying Amazon Prime. We're gonna market it like crazy, because every time you click on Amazon Prime, we've got ad space right in front of you. Yeah, because watch this film next month.
Well, yeah, and then on top of that, now when you stream, you land on the movie.
Yeah.
And it basically shows the trailer.
Yeah.
And you're just like
ad space right in front of your eyeballs.
You don't have to worry about like, how much money the movie is $80 million, and we had to spend $30 million in marketing, and it's like, the $30 million in marketing is gone now. Now you can take that money and put it back into the movie if you want. Yeah. And so it's a different world, but it's a good. I think it's better, and I hate to say this, man.
Look, the theater experience is also changing. Partly COVID, but I think it was always kind of in the cards that it's like, well, how do we get people to either keep going to the theaters, or now, how do we get people back into theaters? Because people have become very comfortable. It's like, we can watch it on our TV. And, TVs are enormous now. So you practically have a cinema experience in your house, and you can pause it and go make your own popcorn without paying $15-20 for popcorn. You don't have to get the babysitter. No. You can watch half the movie and I'm tired, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch the rest of it tomorrow. It's become very convenient to watch in your house. streaming platforms are catering to that. With, hey, we're gonna get new releases and hey, look, exclusive to Amazon. Watch this movie, or exclusive to Netflix. You know.
Definitely. I mean, with like stuff like your HBO Max, your Peacock and stuff like that, there are still movies I will go see in the theater.
Sure.
Because you got. I mean, I go with a group of friends. We enjoy it.
Still like going to the theater.
Oh man, there's something about it. But I'll tell you the one thing I miss.
Well, old school. I mean, if you ask kids nowadays, some kids are like, "Oh, I just watch it on my phone." You know, I download it.
I always hate that people like, I'm watching a movie. Oh, really? I have a. My wife hates it. She's not here, but
you can edit that out.
No. She knows my plan. I went from a 65-inch TV to a 75-inch TV, and then I'm going to go in like a year. I'm going to go to an 85-inch TV. But here's the thing: I'm legitimately 6 foot away from my TV on my couch. My one wall, my goal is I have a room that's mine, and I'm going to do it.
Reverting back to childhood, I don't know about you, but I used to. It's like my dad would take us to the movies, and he hated because my brother and I would like beeline down to the front row, with a thing of Red Vines and a soda, and you sit there like watching the movie, and he'd be like, I'm going to sit midway back because I can't with my eyes. Now I'm like that. Now I'm like my dad. I'm going to sit back here and watch. I can't. My neck won't take it anymore.
See that's what's great about where I got, because you're like this, and you just sit on your couch and you're just like, that's my TV. Yep. But talk about miss. One thing I do miss about theaters, and I don't know if you can tell me if you miss this. I miss that hum of the projector. When you sit down and hear that, just something about it. It's like, oh yeah, I'm in the movies. Yep.
I'm trying to remember. I think, I mean, there was a bit of that. It sounds weird too, but you just always look back because, like, occasionally you catch a movement up in the booth, and I think it's the guy in the projector switching
out the plates. Yeah.
So you can always be like, where did you see that?
Yep. It's just little things about going to the movies I miss, but still I love going to the theater. I love going to see the movies, and every once in a while, even movies that are on streamer stuff, I bust out my projector because I have one of the projector TVs, and I show it, so it's like, I'm still in the movies. So you've done, like I said, you've done so much work. You've been. I gotta ask, how old were you when you were a critter?
Jeez, I mean, I want to say that. I'm trying to remember. Honestly, it's been so long. I've forgotten what year it came out. I hate to say.
I want to say that was.
Was it like 90?
I want to say like 89, 90.
Yeah,
because I think
and it was probably the year before. So if we say.
You know what?
80, let's say 88. We worked on it. Trying to do the math in my head right now. I was born in 69, so 79, 89, and back up 1 year, so it's
1920?
Yeah, kind of right out of high school.
That would be pretty amazing. Like your first move. What did your first role do? I was a critter. I love Critters. I still love it.
It was Critters 2.
Was it Critters 2, the main course?
Yes. Yeah.
Because that was the when he went back home.
Went back home for Easter.
Yep. I just watched that recently. Now I'm like, I know the guy that's in this alley.
Giant critter ball.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I was in the alley. I was in the food fight in the Hungry Heifer. I believe it was the Hungry Heifer.
Yep.
The door would open. You go.
Yep.
It'd be like a moon sound. And I just remember puppeteering through a salad bar and bits of tomato and lettuce and stuff flying everywhere.
Yeah. I also asked this: do you have a personal thing you've like gone like, yeah, this is done, this movie's done? And
nothing I pilfered illegally, but I do have there's like a series of little props and stuff usually we've worked on with Gary. Like I think Piranha 3 Double D, we did a bunch of these little eggs with the piranha embryo in them, which I sculpted, but they're really cool little acrylic sphere with that embryo in it. I've got a large selection of Hellraiser cubes. I'm trying to remember if any of them, at this point, my screen used ones might be gone. I have to check the also a bit of being a fan. I tend to collect like if they're cool props. There were these really cool kind of like etched glass, not plastic, but etched glass. So I've got they used to sell them on eBay. So whoever this person was, I love the etched glass one. I'm still trying to find. I had one that was like the size of a pewter, and I think they might have just remolded the NECA one and run pewter sides and then epoxy them to a cube. But we used it in Judgment, and I had a guy that was like, I want something from Judgment, and I was like, I've got this pewter cube that I didn't make it, but it was in the film, and
screen used.
Yeah, so my screen used collection is kind of shrinking, but I still have tons of boxes. So that's I think I've got like maybe a gun from Brian Angry, a prop gun from Brian Angry, like one of the foam ones.
At your retirement, so that you have all those props that you can screen use props you can sell.
I think those ones are more valuable to me than to anything, you know. I mean, look, for the right price, I'm sure I'll be like, oh yeah, if you're going to finance me getting a new car, absolutely.
I always say that the same thing. I have a bunch of stuff that I don't want to sell, but
well, the weird thing, like my mentality has always been when it comes to Hellraiser boxes, I think since 4, I've been making mechanical boxes. I do the mechanics on the star box and the pyramid box and stuff. Gary usually does all the etching. So while I appreciate having a screen used one, to me, screen used versus one that I just make. If I wanted another star box, I would make myself another star box. Personally, for me as a collector, it doesn't hold any more value to me screen used versus it's one I made.
I made that one. That one. This has just been in film. This one hasn't been in film.
Yeah. Whereas to a collector, they like to be able to point to the screen or have the screenshot and go, see this? This is the same one. And I'm just like, yeah, look, I made this. I make them for the film. This is my screen used. This is my box.
I'm not gonna lie. I got one screen used item, and
nice.
from the TV show Hellraiser, Lucifer.
Oh, right.
And I'm like, that's it right there. I'm like, no one cares.
Sometimes, especially if you're really tied to a franchise, sometimes it's nice to have that because you feel that connection to it. Like I said, you can point to the screenshot and go, oh, it's the same one.
Yeah.
It's cool. And to me, it's like if you're that big of a collector, as a fan, you're going to feel more of a connection to the piece than I am. I'm like, yeah, it's something I made. You know? I mean, I'm kind of jaded. I have stuff all over my garage. I walk into the shop and I'm like, I made that. I worked on this. I worked on that.
So you got all the stuff in your garage. You got stuff outside your garage.
I do.
Do you ever worry that somebody's like, hey, man, you got a lot of cool stuff?
No, what's weird is I tend to keep the curtains drawn. Like a lot of people don't know what's in my house, in my garage. But I also have a feeling that if anyone broke into my house, they're more likely to steal my TV or my DVD player, or my computer, than to go, hey, that's a screen used, from Brian Angry. That's worth money. I mean, I think people probably look and they go, oh, it's a bunch of statues and collectibles, and I can pawn that DVD player and. Like you said, it's a 65-inch TV. That's coming with me. I know I get some money for that. Oh, a laptop? Yeah, we can sell that. I think they're like, oh, what is this? What is this rubber thing falling apart here? Leave it, and it smells.
No, that's the worst thing. Is this foam latex just falls apart.
It does.
And it smells so bad sometimes.
Sometimes exactly. Sometimes screen used while it's like, oh, that's cool. Sometimes having like a display piece out of resin, that it's not going to change, it's not going to fall apart. It's kind of like, even though it's not screen used, it represents something that I think is cool. I mean, Sideshow Collectibles, right?
Well, I love the Hellboy movies. The company. I came across the guys like, hey man, I've got the Hellboy like fist prop stuff like I'm screen used. I'm like, all right, cool. And then I go up and look at it, and I'm like, it's not metal. It's all busted up, falling apart. I'm like, man, it smells bad. I'm like,
but again, you felt that connection.
But
I want screen used. I want to be able to go. This was used. Ron
Perlman wore this. But I'm like, but I'm like, did Ron Perlman use it? Did Stuntman use it? You're kind of like, you're worried about that, but it's like, I'm gonna put it on a shelf, and then people go like, it's kind of broken. Is it real?
Whereas you could buy the thing off a sideshow.
Yeah, and
it's never gonna change.
it's never gonna change. So yeah. Oh man, but I gotta say, it's been fun talking to you. It's been a blast. It's been talking to you all day. And like I said, I had to give you crap because
I'll be here all day tomorrow, man.
I had to expect Pinhead or Pumpkinhead to be bigger.
I didn't have my high heels.
But he didn't have his high heels on. And before I end this,
sure.
Did you take right to the stilts, or was it one of them like like a deer walking for the first time?
I've got to be honest. In the third and fourth film, in the first film they did it brilliantly. They had wires, and Tom Woodruff was really. There's some shots of him in the stilts where he's walking, and he obviously loses it, and he's kind of floating there. But we took the approach, and they did this very cleverly in the first film. They would have him on wires for some steps, and then they'd build a ramp, and they'd have him on a ramp where it's framed just below.
So it's just him walking.
So it's from his knees down, and he's walking just on a raised platform. So what we very cleverly did on 3 and 4 is we would put me in a set of stilts. Either we would bolt down one leg, we would bolt down both of them if I didn't have to take a step, so you could stand, and you'd have the height, but you couldn't go anywhere. And I'd either start a step, or we'd unbolt one leg, and I would literally stand on the one still and lift the other one and get one step forward. Then we would cut, bring in the ramp, and then I would make the walk on the ramp from like the knees up. So in your head you started to walk, now he's walking, you get full frame, the thing. So every time you see it, it's like full shot, cut to mid shot, coming in a door or walking on a ramp. So I didn't have to walk in the stilts, mainly because with, again, being low budget, being in Romania, we were like, we have no idea if they have the capability or the time to set up wires and all that. And we've only got 2 suits, so if you're going to run wires, you've got to cut holes in it for pick points and all that. And we went, we don't want to ruin the suits, so can we cheat this in a way that we never have to see me fully walking in stilts? And I think the only time there's one shot in it where he comes through the stained glass window and jumps down, and it's this really kind of sketchy looking CG thing, and you kind of go, what the hell was that? I hope there isn't more of that, but okay. It was supposed to be Pumpkinhead, right? This is a Pumpkinhead video game? It was an advertisement for the Pumpkinhead
video game.
Hey.
But I got to ask you one last question. I know that was supposed to be the last question, but I'm going to ask you one more question. Have you ever been on set with somebody that you're just like somebody you've wanted to work with, or you almost like fanned out on? That you're not, maybe you didn't like, but you're just like, yeah, I'm working with insert name here.
Honestly, and it's weird. Like, I would say it was probably England. It was probably the first. It was probably Elm Street 5.
Yeah.
And being the huge Freddy fan I was, and being such a young kid getting into the industry, I didn't necessarily fan out like in front of him because there was another guy applying the makeup. I was there with we had a Freddy baby in his back, and we were shooting the whole thing being pulled out of the back. But I was on set and I had a camera. And I am surreptitiously like taking photos and stuff, and I see Robert's up on this raised platform because he's facing off with the kid, and he hits the thing, bursts through him, and he's sitting there and he looks down and he sees me with the camera, and I'm like busted. I'm like kind of like frozen there for a second, and he literally reaches over with the claw, he stabs one of the little stones there, and he holds it up like this with a big grin, and I'm like, he's inviting me to take it. So I like click, and I quickly take, and I want to say it was probably like one of those old 110 cameras because I found the photos recently, and they're super grainy. And they're like 4x5. They're little tiny prints. I don't even think I have the negatives anymore. So
but
I'm
you
scanning
got
them,
the picture, yes.
But it was that just again that kind of mugging shot. And so that was kind of my like fan out moment. I didn't go up and go, oh, where's Brad? Maybe meeting Doug Bradley for the first time, but at that point I'd kind of been working in effects, so I was a bit, I knew better than to geek out in front of I don't do that. I try and maintain a professional, treat them like Especially like on a film set, they're there, they're working, they're like, if you're something like, oh my god, would you sign my puzzle box for me?
And they're like,
yeah, you'd probably be like, does he have to be in the trailer right now? Can we just...
yeah, I mean, you know, because you have to be a fan to be into the thing.
Yeah.
And to be around the people that you've, you know, inspired to be, as you know, I understand it'd probably be hard to tonight, like, oh, you dude, I'm working with, you know, at least like
I said, I tend not to geek out, but there is definitely that part of me that's like, I think I view it as like, I'm like, oh, this is really cool that I'm getting to meet this person who's playing this character, and I want to be a part of this, so I'm going to keep that geekdom under wraps, so that I can come back the next day and not be like, escort the freak out.
Get him the hell out of here.
I can stand back and I can float in the background and be that fly on the wall and participate.
You're doing good work.
The more normal you can be, the longer you're allowed in the room. So.
No, but I appreciate all the work you've done. I love your movies, even the ones I didn't know you worked on.
I love making them, man. I love working on them.
And you know, keep working on them, keep pounding them out. And like I said, I appreciate all the work you've done. I appreciate you being on the show.
Awesome.
And all that fun stuff. So, and it's been a good weekend. Sitting there and run over, talk to you every once in a while. And
I'll be there all day tomorrow. We'll talk more.
Yeah, good meeting you.
Absolutely.
Good talking to you.
Good talking to you. Thanks.
Yep.
About an animal. We're not talking about a man. This is a thing straight from hell.
The Hatfields and McCoys, American legends of rage, wrath, and vigilante justice. But when forbidden love threatens to mix family blood, no one can stop the demonic revenge. Lance Henriksen, Pumpkinhead 4, Blood Feud.